2, 1. I think we are live now.
There we go.
Maybe.
So are we live?
Yes, we are.
Oh, perfect. Hello, welcome to the
Great.
bands on November and, well, no and bands, spoilers. Welcome with me, VOJTA or Tuk, with Felix, or better known as Blitzberg. Is that correct?
Blitzerberg.
Blitzerberg, right?
Can you cut?
Almost.
Perfect.
Can you cut?
And with Miloš and Magic Cards.
Yes. Hi guys, welcome in another episode of banning and unbanning review of French Dual Commander. We have a beautiful guest today, as usual, Felix all the way from Germany, and I think I will let him to speak now.
Okay, so what are we going to start with?
Yeah, we have some schedule. We have things to talk about here, starting with
Bands.
bands. Yes, unfortunate. That's unfortunate.
Bands, yes, the recent changes.
Yeah, it's been
It
2
has
weeks
been,
now.
Yeah, 2 weeks. Yeah.
It's been 2 weeks now that Lotus Petal and Reign of Filth was banned. Both basically mana accelerations and pretty key pieces to Storm decks, for sure. But yeah, Lotus Petal was... I feel like Lotus Petal was not banned mainly because it was a piece for a Storm deck, like for Breach or for Storm in general, because most of the decks that got into MTG Top 8 actually played Lotus Petal, whether or not they were Storm. Like, I played it in my aggro, and it's just
You and other 5 guys? No,
And other 5 guys, yes.
I don't really think that Lotus Petal was that much played card in Dual Commander. I haven't seen it in places which I would think it's major build. Obviously, yes, Storm, and now it's gone. So
I mean, so I feel like the only decks that did not play Lotus Petal were controls, hard controls. I mean,
and even that's not true. If you look at the if you look at the recent data, I agree with you. But when we look at the top 8 of the latest biggest event in France with 450 players, I think, or 430, I'm not sure again.
I can have a quick look.
Then I think the top 3 decks was like Leovold, Atraxa, and Slimefoot. I think this was a pro team playing, and both of the control decks played Lotus Petal. At some point, people just realized tempo advantage is that much of a deal. We have to include this card.
Really?
And
Damn.
So I didn't see that in
Atraxa here it's true. I'm looking at it now at Relic Fest. Atraxa that was in the first place. Can you hear me now? Atraxa in the first place is playing Lotus Petal, and it looks like a hard control. I cannot even see any combo or anything. No, I think it's just...
And I think it was also there was a
combo
list too that featured that, and in top 16 there might be some more lists. And in general, like me for my part, I've talked about this with our Highlander players. So we have a couple of players migrating from European Highlanders some time ago, and when they started with the format, they had some concerns about several cards. But the most recent question I got is, why don't you play Lotus Petal at every deck? And it was like, why should you do that? Because it usually you would include it in decks that have some affinity, background, something like Ratchet or Zai, whatsoever. And then you would play it in combo decks. Breach. Everything that needs fast mana. And I think the very first time the card itself, at least as I noticed, it came into discussion was when Minsk and Boo was printed and still legal in the command zone. That was
Yeah.
The very first
for
time
sure.
when people realized, okay, we might have a problem with fast mana, given the fact that these days cards Wizards is printing are so powerful that it's actually worth it to go down the card disadvantage, with a small side effect that Minsk and Boo compensated for that by sacrificing the hamster, but that's for another day. It simply showed that we might have a problem with fast mana, and as I said, if you look at the recent development of the card, and I also think we talked about it prior to this, VOJTA and me. There was like a stream from one of the players from the second place, I think, and in this stream he stated that like the pro players would think Lotus Petal is quite a problematic card, or some pro players that touch the format. I have no idea. Have you had a chance to exchange with Lucas Blohorn, for example, and hear his opinion on the card? That would have been interesting.
No.
So there was a recent player in Vinohradský pivovar who in the Černý rytíř tournament who placed in actually he won, I think, with his Storm deck, and right after that the Lotus Petal was banned. And he actually mentions Lotus Petal, I think, in his short review of the tournament. And yeah, it's a strong card for sure.
What I think, if you see the most percentage of meta at this moment, I don't think you will find in Raffine or Aragorn, and maybe even Doc. I don't see that played. I mean, that's my just point of view. If I see the control meta, I don't think Lotus Petal was there. Just my personal.
Yeah, some decks. I mean, but you have to think about it like MTG Top 8 is like a huge collection of decks, and most people are, and that's maybe also the point behind net decking, are too lazy to think they're on their own, or maybe they have no time whatsoever, and they just pick a deck online. Some of them don't have a lot of time to fine tune it and whatsoever, and I think the development with Lotus Petal itself is rather quite a fresh one, like something players have talked about within the last 2 months or something.
Yeah, I feel
really
like suddenly more people played it.
Okay,
yes.
So
and I've seen it in Aragon. I've played it myself in Aragon in combination with Simian Spirit Guide. I've also seen it in Raffine, and it got more and more popular, and I think it deserves to be banned at that point. Also having a side effect of nerfing or kind of disabling the classic Underworld Breach combo, which is something the German community might have not asked for, and also the Czech community or Philippines or whatsoever. But it was a deck that was...
I have something to say about that, because recently on our big tournament in Prague, in the top 2 decks were actually both Storm. One was the Children, and the other was our longtime Storm player, Varjik. They both definitely have Breach combo in them. And so right after that, it was banned. So I think it came in the right time.
It came in the right time. Might be. I mean, both might not be happy about it, or maybe...
Yeah, honestly,
I think at least...
Like, my opinion is that because 2 cards were banned, not just one, then it may have been a bit overkill. Like, Lotus Petal, I get it. It could be played in any deck. It's colorless. It gives any mana, right? And it costs basically nothing to play, to get the mana.
Yeah.
But can you tell us your opinion on Reign of Filth, maybe? Because I heard the explanation from you before, and I feel like it was great.
Just because before you should do that,
sure.
I was thinking like last idea before. Do you think there is maybe in future will be back Lotus Petal, maybe experimental unban or something, or we can say just bye-bye to it for sure and never go back?
I would not expect this card to come back. Even though Wizards, if you think about Treasures, which is a design space that Wizards is pretty much leaning into recently, right?
Yeah.
Within the last 1 or 2 years, we've got a lot of cards producing treasures in various ways. And Lotus Petal is a treasure, nothing else, but every now and then we experience how powerful these treasures can be, and we all know how powerful mana advantage in this format is. And if you take a closer look onto the ban list, you also know that most of the Moxes, if not all Moxes, are banned, except for Mox Tantalite, which is horribly, so there's no point to ban it. Simply because fast mana or mana advantage can give you an unfair advantage in a game that I think the committee is trying to design as competitive as possible.
I see.
So they take out something like this.
Okay. Well,
I wouldn't bet on that.
Thank you, Felix, for this. Let's move on. Then there is another card.
There is another card, a Reign of Filth.
Reign of Filth, yes.
For 1 black
There's Reign
mana
of Filth, yes.
instant, if I'm not mistaken, that allows you to sacrifice lands to add black mana to your mana pool.
We'll find it for graphics.
So from my point of view, sorry.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah,
You
go
want to
for
say
it.
something else?
No.
So from my point of view, I personally didn't touch the Breach deck very much, like the Will Lucas Lurus. I played it for a while. I didn't really enjoy it that much. Also, it's very hard to pilot, by the way, or it was very hard to pilot.
For sure.
Obviously, in all the Breach decks, this card is perfectly placed because it does 2 things at once. It gives you a mana advantage, and it gives you graveyard fuel for your Breach recast. So, in that context, the card is absolutely nuts. Then, apart from that, I've played it in Stick Fingers, for example. The fact that it synergizes with your land count, or kind of scales with your land count. You have cards like Cabal Ritual, for example, that for 2 mana give you 5 mana, but only if you have 7 cards in graveyard.
Suddenly that is very easy, yeah.
Riti was the plural of rituals, whatever. Rituals, actually. I was thinking in German. Dark Ritual is another card, but it's limited. It only nets 2 more mana. Reign of Filth itself, it's not only about the mana advantage, which can be quite insane. It's also about the fact that you can abuse the land discount. If you think about the very first deck, or the very first time the Breach combo was played with, it was Kenrith. Back in the days, Lionside Diamond was still legal.
Right.
So you played it with a much better mana artifact. But then you also had a second win condition, which was Reign of Filth into balance, into playing your commander. And then just giving it haste. Or you do not give it haste. You just have a 4/5/5 body on board. Your opponent has nothing. Eventually, or in an optimal case, not even have any cards in hand. That's due to balance, not to Reign of Filth. And there's a third part of the story I can tell, how I lost against the Storm deck that won the last proc event, which was the guy had under Blood Moon. He had like 1 black mana, and he played with a Lotus Petal, Reign of Filth, sacrificing 7 lands and casting a 4th Eolingus for X equals 10. And I had 17 HP and only 1 blocker. That's the part when you realize, okay, he was producing 7 mana for 1, or effectively netting 6 mana. And in many cases, and Wizards is, or Magic is developing towards that direction. In many cases, this card can be very, very explosive. And for my part, I didn't expect it to be banned, but I'm perfectly fine with it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because I was also quite surprised that it was banned, because it was not discussed as much in the chat that we are in the committee chat. But yeah, then I talked with you, and you told me all these things about the Earth Aerolingus, 4th Aerolingus. God damn it! And
that's a bunch of word.
That's a fancy one. That's a fancy one.
Yeah. and the balance and stuff like that. And I was like, he's right. Yeah, it's very strong card, because when you first read it, it feels like it's just basically second High Tide, but for like your lands produce only black, and then if you don't manage to combo off, you are screwed. But it actually is much better because it fills your graveyard for the breach combo, because you can go like Dark Ritual, Dark Ritual, Breach, Dark Ritual for the Reign of Filth, cast Reign of Filth, and sacrifice everything, and Dark Ritual again like 2 more times for the combo and basically win.
If you think in a Rakdos way, the more colors you add, the more variables are.
Oh, for sure.
But I'm just thinking about, like, I've had some absurd back when Trezen was still legal. I've had some absurd lines with stick fingers available, just because the mana advantage is crazy. And people, you're completely right. People often confuse Reign of Filth with Bubbling Muck, because Bubbling Muck is actually the equivalent to High Tide, just in black, but it's much better. So I think it's okay. It's also fine if people complain, because they might not really understand why the card is suddenly taken away. But that's where we're trying our best to get you a bit closer to understanding why that's the case.
So, right, there is a gameplay going on at the moment with Reign of Filth.
Yeah, that's just contribution from YouTube Blitzberg. As a background. Anyway, so we talk about Lotus Petal, we talk about Reign of Filth. You guys want to add up anything to it? Or
no, I think we covered it pretty well.
Yeah.
Any questions showed up on the video call, video feed
chat.
or in a chat? Yeah, that's the word.
Still, there is no questions yet.
Oh, cool.
But maybe it pick up later.
Yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to text in the channel or text us personally.
So, what is the schedule up to here?
Anytime. Let us know.
So now we have any news which brings the new sets for Duel Commander. There is the cards from Karlov Smulders.
Right.
Yes.
You want to Felix start with that?
So I think sure, as you wish. I think a few cards were spoiled already. This is the latest, or the next upcoming standard set, which will be released at some point in January, I think. And VOJTA and me had a look at some cards, which was mainly deduce.
I will try to find some cards in back.
I can hear like very well now, Milos.
Okay.
Can you maybe lower it a bit?
There you go.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Lovely. Still have some technical issues, you know. It's
I've sent you the cards, Milo, by the way.
Okay. We'll check it out
in Discord.
On Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah. So deduce is like.
So can you find card deduce?
No, it's for me. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Deduce.
Okay. And it's you draw a card, you investigate. Works fine with artifact strategies. Might be interesting for Zai. I don't know. I haven't seen this deck in a while.
What is the name again?
There was one player playing it in Darmstadt, and he also made top 8 with it. But apart from that, it's still a popular deck, I think. Popular in a way that it's the closest to what you can play if you like to play blue affinity. And there have been quite some updates to blue affinity. I think the best one within the last year was something like Kappa Cannoneer, quite a powerful card. So yeah, this is one card. The other one is.
We are having deduce right now.
What do you think?
On the screen, maybe can you enhance it a little?
I will try. Yeah.
Yeah, that's better. Maybe the mana cost as well. Cool.
We got it?
Yeah, we got it.
You got it.
So yeah. Okay, cool.
That's a new set which is coming into Magic. Have you been able to see it all, or just a few cards from the set?
No. I think it was just a sneak preview from the last stream,
Yeah.
last week, something like this.
Uh-huh. So when we can...
There's another one. It's called Not on My Watch.
Not on my watch, okay.
It's a white instant spell that exiles target attacking creature.
Not on my
Dependent
watch.
on how many colors you play, it might be a card to include. 2 mana, on the other hand, is it's okay. I mean,
Well, that's
these
funny.
days, most
It reminds me,
disruption spells are designed.
It reminds me a little bit of the
They have
early
even
stage of
lower-
Magic, where there was many like cards, like when you attack opponent, then you get like then you lose the creature or sacrifice
like Condemn.
creature. Yeah, like Condemn. Yeah, it used to be playable, you know. It used to be like you could actually have it in deck, but
yeah, exactly. And we've seen. I think we've seen Condemn and some mediocre interaction spells in some decks every now and then. Oust, for example, is also not the best card to include in the deck, I would say. But
yeah,
probably even still better than this one.
I like the graphics.
Yeah, you've
not on my
enjoyed.
watch. Yeah,
That's cool. It's
I like
cool.
the
It's cool.
graphics. It's funny. Yeah, cool.
True.
So let's have a look.
So next one you sent me was Lara Croft, actually. I
Yes.
am not sure how.
Lara Croft is a bit.
Yeah, I'm not sure how
It's a bit of
good it is.
Lara Croft. We like that.
No, it's more like it's my Teemo love. I mean, the body itself is okay. It's like 3 mana, 3/4 first strike reach. Okay.
Yeah.
I think the raid trigger is fine if you have something to attack with in the same turn. You create treasure tokens. Treasure tokens are good. Treasure tokens remind Lotus Petal. Nice. But yeah, the card is not powerful enough because the triggered ability pretty much only synergizes with the Kamigawa cycle of channel lands. Neo Kamigawa. That's the only relevant one that you could bring up, to be honest.
I mean, it
and
feels
apart from that, there's not that much.
It feels so wrong that 3 mana 3/4 that has a rate that at the end of the combat you create a treasure token if you attacked, that it's not strong enough. First strike reach, you know, it's some other ability.
I think that's due to
I
the
did
color
not even read.
combination.
Like,
think that's
what
due to
color
the color
combination would it be?
Because Teemo-
Would it be good enough then?
I think Junt would be much more interesting.
Huh.
Just because, like, for a mid-range plan, Timur has not a lot of high-quality disruption. What else could it be?
Junt, really?
I'd love to have a playable band commander.
Playable
Band,
what?
band
A
would
band,
probably
right.
band. Yes.
Yeah.
So what is the new brokers? Is the new, or it's the guild, right?
Right, with the shield counters, right?
Apart from that, Mardu, but Mardu, yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'd rather think about. Well, the color combination doesn't matter in terms of the triggered ability. So, because artifacts mostly are, especially legendary artifacts are most of the time colorless, and lands are always colorless. So that doesn't really matter. But yeah, I agree with you. It's kind of pathetic that these days they print a card. Some time ago we would have said, yeah, nice, it's a new command zone. No doubt about that.
Yeah.
But these days,
I feel
just
like
not good enough.
right now it either has to have some protection or like ward or hexproof, or it cannot be really killed in case of Slimefoot or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
Or
that, but
it has to have impact on board right away, right? If this would have haste, it would be so much better. With like no reach, but haste instead, like I think it would be much more playable. Maybe not still playable enough, but much more playable than just first strike reach.
That's why I have to a little bit pick about the unbans again, even though
Yeah.
we covered them in the last
That's
event.
true.
It's just, that's why, 4 mana VOJTA, feel very, very like easy target, and stuff like that. But okay.
I mean, it has
we won't
impact
discuss
right
that now.
away.
Yeah, I mean, who wants to play that, It's so random. I remember, I think it was Martin playing against me, and he triggered like 3 times and never get a single card from out of it. I was like, that's your card, that's your commander. Maybe you can swap next year.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
But then
that's
again,
swappable.
you have these situations in which it triggers 2 times and you have 10 more creatures on board.
yeah.
Well,
Or like 8 more creatures.
That's
And
never
it's super
happened in my
explosive.
watch. I understand, but when I see it, I will believe it, and then I will think, okay, that should be banned. That's very bad.
Yeah, I love random commanders.
Milo, do we have any questions?
Yeah, we actually have one, but I'm not sure. I will think it on the end. That's not regarding the ban or unban. So, is there
Okay.
anything you wanna still
Okay.
So
there is a nice question. I see there someone asked about Genesis Storm. It's a very good question.
Right.
Sir or madam, I can tell you, it's a card that is very unlikely to get unbanned. Although I'd love to see it unbanned, because Martin and Samuel are so much into the card. Or mainly Martin misses it a lot, but
Genesis.
I think we won't make it happen.
Genesis.
Genesis Storm.
Yeah, I don't think we
This
talked
is a
about
deck that...
before about Genesis Storm.
Ah, I see it now.
No, we did not.
Yeah.
So this is a deck Martin and Samuel actually built together, and the combo was later abused for Uro, and instead of banning Uro, which was done anyways later, they first banned Genesis Storm because, and that's true, it is pretty much a 1-card combo in addition to commander casts in V4. So the deck wins with... can you show the card maybe so people...
Yeah, actually,
you have
it's on the screen right now.
So you have to
Genesis
have
Storm.
2 triggers. You have to have 2 commanders cast, command casts in V4, or at least 1.
Yeah.
2 if you play against counter magic in order to make sure all your triggers resolve, and then you search for Jace, Wheel of Mysteries.
That will let
The
you
4-mana
win.
Jace.
Yeah, that will let you win if you have empty library.
And that's mono green?
Exactly. And the second card
No,
is
blue.
Thought.
Blue.
No, it's mono blue.
Mono blue.
Mono blue.
And the
okay.
second card is Thought Lash, with which you can pay 0 mana and exile the top card of your library.
So
And it has cumulative upkeep, but you can basically exile your whole library, activate the trigger of
yeah.
Jace.
So the
then
combo
you win the
is
game
in
by-
green and blue.
Green and blue.
Yeah,
that-
for
Yes.
green and blue,
Yes,
it's
yes.
you have to play green and blue
Yeah,
in those
yeah,
colors.
that's your point.
At least those 2 colors to be able to play the combo.
So Martin played it in Thrasios Tymna back in the days. It was a 4-color control deck. The downside here is that you cannot feature any of the permanents. Like you cannot play any planeswalkers and whatsoever. Only these 2 permanent cards, apart from the lands you play. But these days, I mean, there are some planeswalkers you would like to include in the deck. That's for sure. Teferi and Oko and stuff. Maybe not even Oko, but Teferi is very good. But yeah,
Okay.
the quality of interaction is that good. Would be still pretty good. But today you can only play 1 commander, which makes it not really that much harder. But Thrasios was really, really, really a nice card for this strategy also.
Okay.
Uro was far away. Like Uro was completely busted. That was on
Yeah.
another level. But that was due to the card itself.
Okay, Felix, is there any card which you would like to see yourself in future, like maybe Tiggle and Experimental or something unbanned?
I have not taken a look on the ban list recently, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think there are still a few cards left that that are
Questionable.
kind of obsolete.
Yeah.
Still being on a ban list, something like Polymorph.
Yeah.
I think it's said that in the last interview too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, we
also
talked
us
about
or
You don't
whatever,
wanna open
extensively.
that,
that Arden is a card that I have no idea why it's still on the ban list, because Lightpost is such a better card. Some people also want to see, how's it called, the reanimation creature from Loyal Retainers. So there are a couple of cards,
yeah.
but I think there's,
Nothing,
if we would talk about one card,
nothing like
I
your
still think
personal-
Prime
personal
Speaker
flavor.
Vannifar is not
Really?
good enough to be banned.
Really?
Yeah, not anymore.
Damn.
It's not anymore.
I
Because the thing
huh. I feel like
the thing about the deck is not how. Yeah, go ahead.
I feel like once you have a blue, you have to be much more careful about like commanders that can feature blue cards or that have blue has to be like under bigger supervision, kind of. Because there are you have counter spells and a lot of free counter spells that will just let you protect your commander, and with Vannifar you just need any other creature to win, right? I mean, it has like not that many spots
So-
in the deck, and you don't have to play
The point
anything
I
else.
always
Sorry.
make regarding
Yep.
the deck is that so in order to go off with your combi like these days the combo might look a bit different towards, it might be a bit less clunky, but back in the days you had a pot chain that always brings something onto the battlefield that lets you untap Vannifar.
Yep.
And eventually you would create infinite mana with that by Navigator, and then you end up by bouncing your opponent's whole board with infinite mana and Venza, and then he would never be able to resolve a single spell because he could always rebounce Venza. So you wouldn't have like a deterministic win in that turn, but that in most cases it would win you the game.
Right.
My problem always was, in order to go off, it requires all of your pieces to be in your deck. There can't be anything on hand. Sometimes it's able to find something in the graveyard because you have a body duel line. Again, this might be different today, but I felt like the deck is insanely clunky, and it plays a lot of cards that are just that outside of the combo plan. And these days, I feel like a combo deck, as you've seen with Will Lucas Lurus, it cannot only be a combo deck. It has to have a second plan, or the combo has to be that good that you can pop it as early as possible, and it definitely wins you the game. And I think
Right.
that's both not the case for Manifold. That's my personal opinion. People might disagree, and I'm willing to debate about that.
Okay, fair enough.
But apart from that, yeah.
Fair enough. All right. Yeah, I think we derailed a little towards the unbans, potential unbans, or what we would want to see unbanned. And so, is there? Where were we?
There is one question regarding. Actually, there was Vannifar wins the fetch in Diablo. Okay. There is also a question about Emrakul, the Eon's turn, but. In which deck is that card busted since Polymorph is banned? That's a...
One more time?
I think in...
You mean the Annihilator 6?
Hopefully not.
15 mana Emrakul, I think he's talking about.
The 15 mana Emrakul that can be like cheated into play through show and tell and stuff like that.
Probably...
That Emrakul.
Yeah, that's the 15 mana, yeah.
Oh, the Annihilator 6 Emrakul that... yeah, I mean...
That's probably...
Yeah, that's not a problem at all, of course. I mean...
Probably not. We have so I'm not sure how much time we have here. We have covered 34 minutes. There is a question which is more about organization and about... let me read it right away. So there's a gentleman from Slovakia, Dominik, and he says that they starting actually creating some tournaments around Duel Commander, regular mini tournaments or some kind of where you have a few dozen people in back in Slovakia, back in Bratislava. They asking how you guys get actually being committee, how you actually get to become being committee, because there is not committee for each country yet. How?
Right.
What is the way? Who to speak to?
Felix, who would you contact if you would be a new person who's organizing tournaments, little tournaments, and you would want to be part of the committee, part of the format? Who would you contact because you know that there is no regional coordinator in your country yet? Who would you contact from the committee?
So, if you're watching this stream right now, the easiest way is to contact either you or me, and then we can get you in contact with the people that do the interviews and get you into the committee.
Right. So a different question then.
Candidate, so to say.
Different question. Yeah. Who should I contact if somebody contacts me?
Maybe you shouldn't say the name directly, but
you should. I think you should contact William. William is responsible for that.
Okay. So
he is called Doc FX on Discord, as far as I know.
That's a little bit advertising for William. Hope he.
No, it's like just. Yeah, he's called Doc FX, exactly.
And how does it actually work? This like, do you have to get to some sort of point where you get monthly or yearly some of tournaments, or do you know about this, like when you can access?
So there are several roles that are assigned to members of the committee, so to say. So there is the core. We all know that, like the 5 people that have a
the
vote.
Power.
They vote for the bands. They have the power. Yes. We also have a little bit of power as we debate most cards with them. If I say we, it's not only the regional coordinators, but it's also some professional players joining as some kind of how would you say, they act as a,
like, supporting,
not consultant, but yeah, they have a supportive role, right?
Yeah.
And then there are also a couple of judges to look at some aspects from a structural view. For example, now you might ask, okay, when might it be relevant? For example, if we talk about the big change that they made with the partner ruling.
Yeah.
So then there's a question, what's the best way to phrase something like this, and have it explained
I think
the least complicated.
I think that's
most intuitive.
Perfect explanation. We will get in touch with Dominic and maybe help him to find the right people. There could be a sub question. If you would be in a French committee and you would think that there is, for example, if there is a Chinese like coordinator, because China is very active in Duel Commander. Yep. Do you know if there is a Chinese coordinator?
No. All the coordinators that are available are on Facebook and should be in contact with us. The most recent addition we got was the Italian coordinator.
Right. Yeah.
Well, that would be nice if maybe next time we could see him as well and speak with him about his experience about Duel Commander, which is now starting in Italy as a kind of supporting for like format. From used to be what was the name?
Centurion.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
That was the main format over there. But yeah, we can invite him, sure.
Let's try that for next time. Okay, if you have anything else to talk about, do you have any ideas, VOJTA?
There is only the last point in our schedule.
The last point, yes. What is the last point?
So the last point is talking about the next tournaments. the next tournaments in Czech Republic are this weekend. Duel o dual v Táboře. It's in Tábor, and it's a league tournament. And hopefully a lot of people will come.
Yeah, there is like how many people?
I know at least about 3
50?
cars
60,
that are
64.
coming.
Yeah, 64 people. It's nice.
3 cars. Oh, that's
3 cars from Prague, just like from my group.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's gonna be good. I think, even though it's a Christmas year, but we can hope for the best. Like 40 plus.
So any plans in Germany?
Oh, next year we have. I think the next one is scheduled for March. The exact date is not yet set. It might be the 3rd of March. Something like this.
Yeah, so
But
quite
we're not 100% set.
some time away. Yeah.
Some time away. Yes, exactly.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I guess that's it. If there are no more questions,
I think so
then
too.
unless you have something else, Milos?
No. I'm happy. I was actually playing randomly chosen deck on the last big tournament in Prague, and it was much fun because I kind of felt that Lotus Petal could be banned in the next day. So for me, it was nice saying bye bye.
How did you do that? Like the random generate?
The thing is,
You just asked
no.
ChatGPT what's the best deck, or what was it?
No, I couldn't decide it by myself. And when one of the guys came and said, "Hello, there is a 3 minutes the tournament starts, and you still don't know. How about you throw yourself a coin and decide then?" Which I did, and on the end, Sai came up and said, "Okay, let's do that." Yeah, I was like ready with the Aragorn and Sai, and that's the way it happens. On the end, the result was.
So you choose Aragon.
No. The heads came up, so it was Sai.
Okay.
In the end,
Cool.
I ended up 4-1-1, which was not so bad, but still.
It's not bad.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. I ended up 1-5
Okay.
because I played new deck, the Slimefoot.
Slimefoot, yeah. You have to learn
that's
with
great.
that.
Yeah.
Like VOJTA added one more color to the Rakdos pool.
Yeah, it was a mistake.
Still Goblin though.
New territory.
Yeah, I had no idea how to play it.
Still Goblin, but a little
That's
bit
okay.
different idea. Okay. For me, this is I think it. Thank you very much, Felix and VOJTA to come.
Thank you
Felix,
for the
you
invitation.
need to leave the house. That's good. And I see that we're gonna continue doing this. Next bannings are in February. No, actually.
You mean unbannings, hopefully.
January.
Unbannings, January. Yeah.
Changes.
Changes.
Let's call it
changes.
update.
Yeah,
Update.
that's
It's
good.
not only restricted to
That's
bans
true.
and unbans.
That's true.
Yeah.
You know what? I would really love to, if someone can put on a paper what is actually means experimental bans, unbans. That's so nicely put. Like we're gonna be diplomatic and we will call it experimental, and we will leave it open for a year or two, and we will never decide if it's experimental done, finished, or it's still experimental. I would really love.
If
to know
I'm
that.
not mistaken, actually, Yoshimaru is still experimentally unbanned.
Experimental a year and
right?
a few months, I think.
Is that the case?
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah,
so.
I didn't see any ending.
Should
of
be
finished
mentioned
experiment.
somewhere. Could be true. Could be true. I think the difference is just that if a card is experimentally unbanned, is that it's still closely watched.
Yeah.
So not 100% considered sure. If you from the view of the committee.
Well, anyway, I think French guys doing very much good work still. Even though some people are not happy about it. It's tough choices. You never get happy everyone. So there's always.
I mean, honestly, I'm pretty happy about how the in which state the format is now. I feel like it's in a good place.
Yeah.
No deck is like crashing everybody else. The format is diverse, and I mean, I'm pretty happy about the format.
Good.
Yeah, I agree to that. And also you have to take into account as it's getting more and more. I think it's getting more and more difficult to to maintain the format, because there are so many new cards that bring in new opportunities, and also because the format is getting more and more popular. Like,
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I
we
can see
we
that
just
people
had a
dropping-
450 players event, which is pretty
That's
crazy.
huge.
If you think about, like, GPs are played with like 1,000 players, or like starting from 1,000 players up to many more. But it's already half a GP, right? Like,
Yeah.
small number, but 450 players is quite a thing.
That's not a
to be
small
honest.
number for sure.
What I
That's
speak,
not a small number.
Just
Yeah,
a couple
and-
days ago with one of the
I mean, it's played in in many European countries. It's played in China, as you said, Asian countries, Philippines.
yeah.
Then
South
there is
America.
South America,
No, America
and
actually
now
is getting
recently,
up. Yeah, America
Yeah.
and Canada.
I think like a week ago, there was like a video from Playing with Power, which is like a very
Yeah.
known or a big.
It's a major channel,
CDH.
right?
Yeah, I'm happy
It's a
to
major
hear
channel,
more.
yes.
I'm
A CD.
more used to that.
They mainly create CDH content, because I think Americans are very into multiplayer Magic and CDH especially, and they covered Duel Commander for one game, which is quite nice to see that Duel Commander itself also grows into that direction. So yeah, the bigger the community gets and the more cards there are available, the harder it is to keep a close look onto the whole development of the format. So
Also,
I
the
think
more
they're doing a good
players,
job.
the more players, the more often something gets broken by the players.
Yeah.
And yeah, the strong synergies are more easily or readily found.
That's true.
Cool.
Even better that we have like a 2-month routine, or a bi-monthly routine instead of a quarterly routine.
Okay. I think we talked about everything important. We mentioned, well, everything.
Yeah, I think for
So,
me cover up everything. Yeah. Shame no unbans, but okay.
Maybe
wait
next
for
time
another
then. So
You gotta be patient. You gotta be patient. If you ask for it, it won't come.
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
So let's leave window for Felix to say bye bye, and we're
We're gonna finish. Yeah.
gonna finish.
Yes. Thanks for being with you guys. As always, it was a pleasure. And hopefully see you next time.
I'm sure that you can invite your favorite viewers to see your another step with in your channel. So are you building each deck like every month one deck to maintain some sort of surprise in your channel in YouTube?
You mean like we do regular deck lists,
Yes.
deck checks, or what do you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on how spicy the command zone is. If there are cards that are structurally not that interesting and are very obvious to be played in the command zone, then we rather not tend to brew something with that. But if it's like a spicy card or an archetype we haven't played for a while, then we have a look into that.
So anything interesting on your channel, something to look for, or any spoilers about the next video?
Okay, currently we have a Christmas session ongoing, so to say. If you've checked the last video, we're playing Sir Ginger, or I've brewed a Sir Ginger list. It's a colorless command zone. The Food Knight.
That sounds yummy.
That's a spicy one. Martin is playing a Celestia Alluring combo deck, which is also not too bad.
Cool.
And yeah, within the next 5 or 6 sessions we've already recorded, there will be mostly only new decks. You haven't. One of those decks you might have seen on other channels, but the other 2 you haven't seen on any channel so far, I think.
Okay.
But, yeah,
Okay. Cool.
That's it.
Okay.
That's
Let's
it from
finish
my
with
side.
that. Thank you, Felix, again. Thank you from Milos for organizing
lot.
this. And yeah, see you soon.
Thank you, VOJTA.
Latest
Thank you,
in 2
Felix.
months.
I see you in 2
And
months.
yeah, bye.
Let's play good Magic.
And nice top decks.
I will try.
Bye.
I'll try.